All right, so the recording is on. All of you would be able to look at the session online as well subsequently. Okay, so Delja, you should be able to hear me now. People who cannot see the full screen, they have to scroll on their side. That means the resolution of your machine is lower than the resolution of my machine, which could be the case. All right. Okay, so this is the SAP Netweaver Systems Administration, or in other words, basis training. This is the introduction and the orientation to that. And everyone should be able to see the first slide. If you are not able to see, just ping and Amol would be able to help you out with that. We're going to follow through the following agenda. Spend some time on the coach background, the instructor's background, what is SAP, the course content, the syllabus which we are going to be following, the training material, our unique training approach methodology, why SAP basis, right? Why should one be attending it? SAP GUI installation and connectivity to our SAP servers, on how you can connect to it. And then we're going to spend some time on SAP's technical architecture. That's just a topic which we are going to take up so that we can give you some background on SAP, and also you'll get a good sense of what kind of material to expect. Few SAP transactions, essentially to get your hands dirty, again, to give you a sense of what's in the course. Frequently asked questions, which we have compiled, over the years, and then Q&A session. This is going to be an open forum. If you have any questions, which you might want to raise, which we'll try and answer as well. All right, so introduction to Coach. Our competency is really providing SAP consulting services. We were established in 1998. We have a current consulting staff of 90 plus between our two offices in US and in India. We've got 20 plus clients, where we provide consulting services. Some of them are listed here. For your reference, the complete list is available on our website. We are an SAP services partner. We are on AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, cloud-based infrastructure as a service, platform as a service leader right now, with obviously Azure, MS Azure from Microsoft as well. We are an IBM software partner and an Hewlett Packard partner as well. Got a couple of affiliations here in the US as a minority business enterprise and a small business enterprise for the state of New Jersey. We have our offices here in Ramsey, New Jersey, and a solution delivery center in Gurgaon, India, and a regional office in New Delhi, India as well. Okay. Here is, partial listing of client. It goes a little bit beyond, what we had mentioned earlier, but it kind of gives you a sense of the different verticals in which you will find our services, so it's not just limited to CPG, consumer packaged goods, but, pharmaceutical, as well as insurance, retail industry, entertainment, media, healthcare, industrial systems integration, etc. Right? So there's a lot of different industry verticals covered, just because SAP has the same penetration as well in different industry verticals. Our business model actually is, on a high level, is very similar to what you would typically see for a consulting company. Our focus, our vision, is on SAP technology. Consulting services, obviously with it training, and then we also have a pretty well defined and well qualified software quality assurance practice as well. Our strategy is to offer technology solutions and kind of build a vertical integration, where we hire, train, deploy, develop, and retain the best talent. Being a consulting company, focuses on the human resource, the consulting base. Our consultants are both full-time employees as well as contract employees, right, both in India and US. We are partners with SAP, with IBM, HP, Amazon Web Services, etc., which we talked about. Pretty good network of vendors. We use a database called CBIS, where we have, good content available in terms of contact information from vendors whom we have dealt with in the past, independent consultants we have dealt with in the past, right? So that database significantly helps us as we provide consulting services and we need to source candidates from outside of our own pool of resources. And then obviously from a customer standpoint, we have large business customers as well as medium business customers. That's the key market which SAP is going after as well. More recently, after the small business as well, through software as a service paradigm. But in that paradigm, obviously, consulting services required is minimal because it is structured in that fashion, right? So our focus is more around the large businesses and the medium businesses. Okay. Solution offerings which we have as a company, right? Our focus is, where we started as well is Architect SAP, to provide SAP technical architecture, strategy, and design services. Remote SAP, which is Best Shore SAP Netweaver Systems Administration, i.e. offering SAP Systems Administration services from both onshore and offshore with the best blend. Manage SAP, which is SAP Solution Manager Implementation and Consulting Services. Turbo SAP, which is SAP Performance Management. Assure SAP, which is quality assurance, automated quality assurance within the SAP paradigm. Secure SAP, which is security systems administration from a security standpoint, both design and administration. Train SAP, which is SAP technical training, both public training, similar to this, as well as more focused
has left the conference
on demand at client sites as well. And then Consult SAP, which is purely staff augmentation to providing consulting services on demand for a client population. My background, name is Ajay Dhingra, right? Most of you are already aware of it because Amol has passed on that information earlier. You can look at my LinkedIn profile, which can give you some more insight into my background, but I've got 20 plus years of IT experience. Most of the initial years were providing management consulting services through Pricewaterhouse and Accenture, big 5 firms. Over 16 years of SAP basis project management, team lead, systems administration, and architecture. Number of full end-to-end lifecycle implementations of SAP, 12 plus for SAP ERP, 5 in SAP BW, 4 plus in Solution Manager, more than a couple for APO, supply chain management, portal, PI, BO, BPC implementation. I'm an SAP certified basis consultant. I've had that certification for, since 1998 actually. I have an MBA and a master's from Tier 1 US universities, master's from Drexel University here in Philadelphia, and MBA from Stern Business School, NYU. And obviously we have been delivering professional education in the SAP space and in the QA space for 15 plus years now. And again, more details available on my LinkedIn profile. Okay. With that, I think the stage is set to talk more about SAP. So what is SAP? SAP, obviously the acronym itself is German, right? And I've given you the German literal full form, but more important is in English, it translates to Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing, right? That's what SAP means. So Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing, which is the literal translation of the German wording. It's the world leader in enterprise application software, right? And close to 200,000 customers in more than 130 countries. It was founded in 1972 by 5 ex-IBM employees. More than 80% of the Fortune 500 companies use it. So it's pretty prevalent, right, in the market space. The flagship product is called the SAP Business Suite, and it has got 5 major products which make up this suite. The first one being the Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP. The second being Supply Chain Management, SCM. Third is CRM, Customer Relationship Management. SRM, which is Supplier Relationship Management, and PLM, which is Product Lifecycle Management, right? So those are the 5 major products which make up the SAP Business Suite. Continuing the introduction to SAP, there are a lot of TLAs, 3-letter acronyms, as you would expect in any IT discipline. Software companies tend to make things difficult. Obviously, our focus here is going to be to demystify that. So we're going to spend some time. So even if you look at the Business Suite, ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning, is made up of what's called ECC, which is the Enterprise Central or Core Components. And ECC 6 is the latest version. And on the periphery of ECC are what's called enhancement packs or EHPs. All the modules which you guys might have heard, as you decided to attend this program, like FICO for Finance and Controlling, SD for Sales and Distribution, MM for Material Management, PP for Production Planning, HR for Human Resource, PS for Project Systems, WM for Warehouse Management. These are all modules. It's not a complete comprehensive list, but these are the main modules which make up ECC Enterprise Core Component. Similarly, other products like SCM, Supply Chain Management, which previously used to be called APO, Advanced Planning and Optimizer, which is the old name for SCM, also has modules. DP meaning Demand Planning, SNP for Supply Network Planning, SNC for Supply Network Collaboration, TPVS for Transportation Planning and Vehicle Scheduling. In addition to ERP and SCM, obviously we said, you got the customer relationship aspect of it through CRM, supplier relationship aspect through supplier relationship management, and then the product lifecycle management itself, right? So these 5 products make up the Business Suite.
Has left the conference.
And it's very key that you all remember and recall at least these acronyms, right, as you attend this first orientation session. All of these SAP products we just talked about, which make up the Business Suite, run on what's called SAP Netweaver. SAP Netweaver being the foundation on which all of these products are built on. It's a framework, and that framework, SAP Netweaver framework itself, has got various building blocks, and here some of them are mentioned, right? So WAS, which is the Web Application Server, is part of SAP Netweaver. Business Intelligence, or BW, Business Warehouse, is also part of NetWeaver. PI, Process Integration, which is the newer name of XI, Exchange Infrastructure. PI is also part of NetWeaver. Enterprise Portal is part of NetWeaver. MDM, Master Data Manager. MII, Manufacturing Integration and Intelligence. These are all products which make up NetWeaver, right? So very important to remember that. And on the NetWeaver are built all of the products which make up the SAP Business Suite. There are some other products, which are not part of the Business Suite, but they are built on NetWeaver and are significant to the SAP portfolio. I have not listed all of them, but listed some of them, which you will come across a lot. Solman, short for Solution Manager. BPC, which is Business Planning and Consolidation. BO or BobJ, which is the short for Business Objects. And Business Objects in itself has got a number of products like Business Objects Enterprise, Business Objects Data Services, Business Objects Federator. They all are part of the suite called Business Objects, which is a company SAP bought back in 2006, I think. Then we got GRC, Governance, Risk and Compliance, which is again a product from SAP in the risk and compliance and security and controls area. SOA, this is another acronym which people talk a lot about, right? And a lot of the SAP products have started to use these services because it is inherently a services-oriented architecture, especially for PI, for process integration. That's where the repository for SOA exists. Okay. The course content, right? How is the course going to be delivered? The foundation of the course is based around 5 PDF files. TADM 10_1, TADM 10_2. Hold on for a second, guys. Yes, you're here for the SAP orientation class. You just have a seat. You're late by an hour.
Yeah, that's bad traffic.
Yeah. All right. Have a seat. Most of the people are online today. That's why, because of the snow and everything, right?
Yeah. I started early enough, but got tangled with the traffic and things like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you just need to pay attention there. You don't need to boot up the machine or anything, right? Yeah. So the course content is around 5 PDF files, TADM 10_1, TADM 10_2, which are SAP Netweaver Application Server Implementation and Operations 1. And then similarly, you've got SAP Netweaver Application Server Implementation and Operations 2, which has got 2 other PDF files. And then finally, the Oracle Administration for SAP, TADM 51, right? And the way this material is going to be available is it's going to look something similar to this. It's going to look something similar to this. This is how your training DVD is going to look like. And if we go to SAP Netweaver 731, this is the version of NetWeaver we are going to look at. You'll see all of these 5 PDF files, but these are not the only material available here. Right. So Scott, very briefly, will be covering DB2 or UDB, but the focus, most of what we're going to do is going to be based upon Oracle, because most of the systems we are running is based upon Oracle, except one which is based upon SQL Server. But 80% of what a basis admin does is agnostic to the databases, right? However, that 20% which is specific to the database, that's going to be specific to Oracle in this coursework, right? And again, it has been chosen, Oracle and SQL Server have been chosen because they are the predominant databases out there on which SAP is running, right? So we wanted to pick the one where majority of the systems are running. Right, so these are the PDF files. If I open any one of them, you will see that this is SAP training material, right? Okay, and number of pages, right? This one itself has got close to 300 pages, right? So there is close to 1,500 odd pages across the 5 PDF files, right? But that's not all the material, right? We've got a knowledge base folder in which there are a number of subfolders and other documents. So anything anyone has asked over the last 10 plus years as we have been teaching this course, you know, wherever we felt that there is material we can share, which is already in a documentation format, in a presentation, Word document, PDF, we have put it here, right? So that, you know, individuals could benefit from it, right? Whether it's upgrade related, certification related, Oracle related, homogeneous system copies, health checks, what have you, right? It's here and it just makes it easier, right? So now what you guys are seeing is an amalgamation of all of that information which we have shared. Yeah. Are the TADM shared? Are the latest versions? Yes. 7.31. If you have received a DVD in which that folder is not there, we will change it, you know, or provide you with a later one. But what you should have in your DVD is, Chandan, is this folder called SAP NW31, right? If you're looking at SAP new material, if you're looking at these 5, then they are old, right? We have discontinued that, and we are going to be using 731, right? These ones. Amol, please make a note of that, right? If that indeed, if we have missed including folder number 14.
Well, Ajay, I have provided a link to download the new material to all the students, so they might be having it. But anyways, I will double check it.
Okay. All right. All right. And so that's knowledge base. We have got number of books which we provide as well. So, you know, hundreds of dollars worth of books itself, right? Not all of them are the latest, right? Nevertheless, you know, we do provide them to you. It has some of the key books, you know, which are the Bible in this space. So one of them, you know, which I read as I was learning the material is the SAP R3 handbook, right? Again, unfortunately, there are no newer versions or newer editions of this, but this book by Jose Hernandez was considered the Bible, right, for SAP system admins. And there are a number of other books, including SAP, including BW, including Oracle, which are provided here. Some more detailed information, which I'm not going to go through per product. SAP installation related material, which you will see how we are going to use it. Student material, again, to help you with the installation. We do an installation on a Linux machine, so some Linux details. Specifically, Red Hat Enterprise Linux is used. The installation we do is Solution Manager installation, so those details are provided as well. We do the install on a virtual machine, so how the virtual machine is created is provided as well. It's a lot of good material there. Everything we do is recorded, right? Including the session we are going through right now, so that if you missed anything, you're able to go back and review the recordings. And also we provide you with all the recordings from a previous batch. This one is quite dated, but still we do provide to you so that you have access to it. And in addition, some other related coursework like Solution Manager, which is a different course, recordings from there, as well as recordings from a BW coursework are provided as well. And the recordings which we go through as the course continues is available to you for close to 1 year, right? So that's enough for you to review it multiple times. SAP Netweaver 7.31 we talked about, and then in addition, frequently asked questions, how to view the live meeting recordings, how to install SAP GUI, this particular orientation session itself is all available. Okay, so that's how the DVD is structured. Looks like there was a question. Not in this class. We don't cover HANA as much. For HANA, most probably we'll be starting a newer coursework, just because it requires, more than 4 days to cover HANA, right? On a high level, we can talk about it. We can discuss it because Khoj as a company, we do a lot of HANA work. Explore the training DVD, we just did that, right? I gave you a sense of it, on how things are structured. Yahoo group, you will all have to be part of a Yahoo group. This group here is dated. You will be part of the newer group. And all information is disseminated using the Yahoo group, right? That makes it easy for us. So as you register, you'll become part of the Yahoo group. Hands-on exercises, right? So we just don't give you theoretical knowledge and kind of just walk you through certain things. Every single thing which is taught to you is then eventually given to you as an exercise, right? So if you look at our exercises, each day has an exercise, right? And if I pick one of them up, let's say I pick up day 4, right? So you will see how the exercise is laid out. It gives you the content, it gives you the screenshots, and it gives you the solution as well, right? Obviously, we're not expecting you to just go through the solution. We're expecting you to do it yourself. If you get stuck, you can look at the solution, right? By screenshots, very well laid out, right? So it's just as an example, right? So this is the day 4 exercise. Similarly for other days, not all the days have an exercise, but that's how it's been designed. There's a custom installation guide. To install SAP is not trivial, right? Installing SAP is a complex, multiple days of exercise, right? So we actually have watered it down and we have built a custom installation guide which walks you through the process. I do the installation in the class and then everyone follows and does their own installation on their own server. And that installation guide is available as well. And here it is, SAP Solution Manager Custom Installation Guide. So this has been built by us on how to install Solution Manager, which is an SAP product, on Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5.0, right? And you see that it is structured very well, right, with an index and everything on what you're installing, why are you installing it, and then where are you installing it, right? So as you see, the installation which we do is on a Dell PowerEdge server on which we are running VMware, and we have created 4 partitions. Even though we did create 4, we run only 2 of them so that 2 of the individuals on a weekly basis can do the installation, right? So it is virtually partitioned. We have shown to you, what the architecture looks like. So it's got 2 Xeon processors, 8 gigs of RAM, and then we have divvied up that RAM so that, we can help people with the installation process, right? How the file systems are structured, what are the various steps you need to go through. Each and every command is listed out, right? And when it comes to actual graphical portion of the install, the screenshots are given, right? So that you are able to relate to it, right, as to what you saw in the class. And this is the SAP portion of the install. Obviously, SAP runs on a database. There is a database portion of the install as well. In this case, it's going to be Oracle. So you're going to see in a little while the OUI, Oracle Universal Installer screenshots, right? So this is the Oracle database prerequisites. And then comes the screenshots for Oracle installation. This is OUI, Oracle Universal Installer screenshots, right? So that level of detail is provided. So, right, very well structured. And in fact, we didn't create this material, right? I didn't create this material. It's actually a fellow student of yours who created it, right? As an exercise he wanted to do, right? So a lot of the material you're going to see, we have used the student body itself to create those, and that has got benefits. Number one, they get more exposed to putting material together, and second is it helps the subsequent batches, right? Also, our goal is to prepare you for the SAP certification exam, because, as you enter this industry, right, if you have a third-party certification, that means certification from SAP AG, it goes a long way. In fact, what we have done is we have created our own certification exam, which is a preparatory exam which we walk you through. So that you are able to take the actual certification exam with a lot of confidence, and we have structured it the same way. It is delivered online, so that you are able to benefit from it. Right. And I'll show you the details about that exam as well, so that let me see if I can bring it up. I'll show it maybe perhaps at the end of our material, which we cover, how our internal certification exam preparatory sessions look like. Okay. Next slide. So why is our training methodology unique, right? So number one, the instructor who's going to be walking you through all of this has done it for a number of years, right? A decade plus, right? So that in itself makes a difference. The instruction material we talked about, right? It's a very well thought out amalgamation of various types of material, not just bookish knowledge, but also the knowledge base folder which we talked through, right, which has been prepared over a number of years, right? It's a good mix of exercises and the theoretical content. Individual installation on your own server, right? So the install itself is very key. Each student would be doing a solution manager installation as part of the training program. You will also have access to the server for 3 months after the training has been completed, right? So, you have access to the systems. You will receive everything in a training DVD. It's got large quantities of material, even beyond, what we cover in the class, right? What we cover in the class are 5 PDF files, right? And there are hundreds of them in the DVD. 24/7 global access to our servers, right? So as you practice things, no matter whether you are here in US or outside the US, any time of the day, you can continue to practice at your own convenience. That really helps people as they're in different time zones or different schedules, right? So which is very key. Session recordings, we record every training session. So it can be attended in class, can be attended remotely, live, as well as if you miss something, you can still review the recordings. Even if you don't miss, you just need to revise it, you can look at the recordings. Khoj placement service offering, we offer job placement assistance, right? Obviously that's at the cornerstone of what a lot of you want. So in terms of, helping you with your resume, with mock interviews, and as you prepare for real client interviews, etc., right? We make sure that you are well prepared for that. A lot of what you're going to see is a school-based approach, right? So the focus is to make sure you do learn, right? So you'll see weekly homework, in-class quiz, right? So you come in the class, there's going to be a quiz which you'll have to answer. Could be verbal, could be written. There is an expectation that there's 20+ hours of workload which you guys need to do at home on a weekly basis outside of the 8 hours of class. So, we are asking you to spend the extra time and the effort, right, to really learn the material, because that's very important. It's very important that you have connectivity, that you connect to our systems, and we have had some recent changes in that on how you need to connect to it. So for people who have downloaded SAP GUI, right, from this link or which Amol might have provided, you will be connecting to a system. Earlier it used to be SD1. This one still states SD1, but now it has been moved to the cloud because that's where a lot of the workload, the computing workload, is heading. So people who have got the SAP GUI downloaded, I at least want to give some of you the opportunity to be able to connect to our systems remotely, and I'll tell you how it looks like in a little while. Let me take the time to answer these 4 questions first. Just give me a second. All right, so there are a few questions. Okay, we talked about the first one earlier. Yes, Solman is the SAP product which you will install, right? So that's correct. Could you tell us again, where is the custom installation guide located? It's not on your DVD at this point. It will be sent to you when we go through the installation process. We don't give it ahead of time. Okay, Anurag's question, do we get access to individual partitions? Do we get access to individual partition or partition? Yeah, you'll each have your own partitions, right? Your own dedicated partition. Okay, you can hear me now, that's good. Will we be receiving? Yes, not on your machines, not on your physical machine, it will be a virtual machine partition. That virtual machine is here in our office, right? But you'll be installing on it remotely, but it's going to be yours for the week when you do the installation. Just the Solution Manager installation. Configuring systems on Solution Manager is part of the Solution Manager coursework, right? But in this case, we don't go ahead and configure systems on it, right? That's just connectivity for satellite systems or what's called managed systems on Solution Manager, right? So as part of the installation, you don't do that, if that's the question you're asking. Okay. All right, so coming back, for those of you who have downloaded SAP GUI, All right, so for people who have downloaded SAP GUI, the way you will connect to it is by creating a new entry in SAP GUI, clicking on New Item, and that entry needs to look like this. And I'm just extending this for you, right? Obviously, this is free-form text. The most important thing which you need to remember is filling these two fields, the application server field, system number field, and the system ID field, right? So this application server is important. You can't have a typo in this. EC2-54-235-84-246 .compute-1.amazonaws.com, right? So this is the move we made to move things onto the Amazon cloud, right, where this is running. So this is all running currently on the Amazon Web Services cloud. So for people who have got the SAP GUI downloaded, can create this entry. Right, instead of SD1, it is RP2. The user ID password remains the same, right? And the installation instructions and all should have been provided by Amol. Okay. Amol, have most of the individuals in today's session, do they already have the installation instructions?
Yes, they have it.
All right. Okay, good. Beatrice, you will receive the DVDs after you have registered. If you have registered already, then it should be on its way. If not, as soon as you register, you will get it. Okay. So, if you have received this as the IP address, right? Right, instead of what's here, it is essentially the same, right? This is just a DNS entry, but even if you use this itself, you didn't use the full name, let's say, right? And you just use this, even then you will be able to connect, right? This is the initial screen. Shishya, welcome. Oh. I thought I saved the user, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I just created the Shishya user, but maybe I didn't save it. Yeah, I didn't save it, so let me just do it again. Just giving the date format, assigning it security roles, full access, SAP all. Okay. Save it. That's the step I had not done earlier. You can check it again. Shishya. Welcome, right? So I'm able to log in. And I do see a few other people logged in as well. Okay. In the system, not too many, but few other people logged in. So that's how you know and this is running on the cloud, which is unique. Nobody's going to teach it to you running on the cloud. So this is running on Amazon cloud, And for those who are curious, this is the Amazon cloud. So I log into it the very same way as I log into Amazon, whether I'm buying a toothpaste or I'm running an SAP server, same concept, EC2 cloud. I've got 5 running instances there, and one of them is this guy. And if I scroll down, look at the details, this rings a bell, right? This is the public DNS entry for it, which equates to this IP address. That's where I was connecting, right? And I can, stop it, reboot it, whatever I want to do, right? Just right click and do all of that. All of that is going to happen on Amazon's data center. Right? And obviously we've got a lot of other instances running as well on the Amazon cloud. So this is cutting edge technology, right? This is North Virginia data center in which our systems are running, right? I can run them in any of the data centers. Tokyo, Sydney, Sao Paulo, Singapore, Frankfurt, Ireland, others in US itself. And creating systems is very simple, right? Launch instance, boom. If I want to launch a new system, which kind do I want? I just select it, continue through the process, and I create a new system, right? A very, very easy process. And not just that, I can create HANA systems also. This one here is a HANA DB. If you look at it, right? I've shut it down right now. That's a HANA system. Okay, that's correct. From the link, I was able to install files and I'm able to connect to the server using the username and password, but I could not able to install. Okay, Amol will assist. You still have time to get all of that working. Logon details, Shishya, welcome password, right? Again, everything is in the recording, and also everything is in this PDF file which you're going to receive, right? So you're not going to miss anything. Shishya is the user ID, welcome is the password. Yes. That's the wireless. All right. Why SAP basis? Systems administration in SAP is called Basis Systems Administration, and it is the foundation of all SAP products, right? That's the reason you want to focus on it, right? Is it gives you the fundamentals from a systems administration standpoint for each and every SAP product, right? There are a few exceptions where SAP has bought products, because they bought newer companies, right? So they have not been based upon NetWeaver, but inherently, majority of the SAP products run on NetWeaver, right? That's why you want to learn how to administer SAP Netweaver from a systems administration standpoint. And we're going to spend some time on NetWeaver itself. And the way we spend time on it is by focusing in on SAP Tech Unit 1, page 16. So I'm going to quickly go to that. Okay. Right, so this is how SAP Netweaver looks like, and this is called the refrigerator diagram, and we're going to spend some time on it, right? This is the building block. So architecturally, right, if nothing else, even if you get this understood is very good, right? So this is how the SAP stack looks like. SAP Netweaver stack looks like. At the base of it, you have got the application platform, which is the web application server. It has got the Java engine, it has got the ABAP engine, and it has got the DB and the OS abstraction layer so that it can run on multiple databases, different databases, different operating systems. On top of it, it has got the process integration, the PI layer. And then it has got the business intelligence layer, the master data management layer, and then the portal layer, which has got knowledge management built into it and collaboration built into it. And it's got the multiple channel access that needs access through mobile devices, so on and so forth. So this is the foundation on which all SAP products run on, right? It's called the SAP Netweaver stack. So I just kind of picked this one page to cover to kind of give you a sense of, web application server, exchange infrastructure, or PI, MDM, master data management, business information systems, or BI or BW, enterprise portal, mobile infrastructure. These are all building blocks of the Netweaver stack on which all SAP products are based on. Okay. Again, this is a PDF. We are not going to cover this specific PDF, but it's provided to you. But this material is going to be covered in other PDF files, right? So just wanted to kind of give you a sense of that. The server's IP address. Yes, IP address. Amol must have already provided all of that, but I will provide again. Just here it is, right? These three are important: IP address, system number, and system ID, right? Okay, I will also put it here. System number is 10 and system ID is RP2, right? Total, how many products does SAP have? Major are 5, right? What's the total? I don't know the count. I can easily say that they are probably in low 30s, in that range, right? As SAP continues to buy different companies and they have their own products, so on and so forth, right? When you go to download products from SAP website, just like in Microsoft, right? I mean, like nobody can answer how many products does Microsoft have, right? Hundreds of them, correct? Okay. Okay. So I can see people connect now, which is good. Ashishya. These are all the users who have connected now today. Now we're going to focus on SAP technical architecture, right? So this is TADM 10_1 unit 3. So I'm actually going to, as an example, just cover one of the units so that you can see how the training material is going to be covered, right? So TADM 10_1. So this indeed is one of our training materials, right? So it's this one, right? So unit 3. All right, so yes, you can go outside to the left and then right, where you came from. It's not related. Hadoop is just a database, right, for big data. All right, so this is Unit 3. So, very quickly going through it from an SAP architecture standpoint. Again, we'll cover this in more details, but giving you a sense of what the SAP architecture looks like. We're going to focus on some of the key. Obviously, SAP, as we told, the application server technology is both ABAP and Java, right? So it has got a Java application server as well as a ABAP application server, right? And here is few details about ABAP. Again, we don't want to spend too much time on it at this point. You're all well aware of the concept of a Java virtual machine, right, which is the lowest common denominator on which Java runs. That's why it's called write once and run many, right, because it all runs on a JVM. And if we look at this diagram here, it kind of gives you a sense of the presentation layer of SAP. It can be running on any device, right? And then it has got a Java application server, and what's not shown here could have an ABAP application server as well. And then it has got a database layer, which is both ABAP and Java, right? So it has got a database schema for ABAP, a database schema for Java. That's what's being shown there, right? This is just showing the J2EE application server. How does it look like? There are services, enterprise Java beans, servlets, Java server pages, right? So this is not new. This is not new to SAP. This is how any J2EE application server looks like. Right? So I'm not going to spend time on this. Now it talks about Java enterprise server in an SAP environment. How does an SAP J2EE server looks like, right? And its cluster architecture, and then there is a very good diagram, which they talk about. So this is an SAP Netweaver AS stands for Application Server Java instance, right? So it's got the database, which has got the Java schema in it. It's got some central services which are required for all instances to run, and queue server, which is required for lock management, message server for load balancing, and a gateway server to connect to the world outside. And each instance, each Java instance has got an ICM, Internet Communication Manager, and multiple server processes, right, which you see here, called SP. They all make up a clustered environment, right? So even if one goes down, the others are still available for the system to run. There's some more details about these. Again, for this first class, it's not critical, right, in the orientation session, but just want to kind of tell you that how we are going to go through the material, especially the diagram. This is the framework which the application server for Java uses. Every chapter has at the end of it some questions, some Q&A. A lot of the certification questions come directly from this, right? So it's very important to not miss them. And also we have our own preparatory steps as well, right? Online tests which will help you with preparation. There is This is how the file system for SAP is laid out. We'll talk about this in a little while. You know, it gives you a good sense of users app SID. This is the directory structure under which everything is available. I wanted to spend some time on this is all start and stop, so which we'll cover, right? Not for today's session. For today's session, what I wanted to focus on was this is the one, the SAP ABAP system. Like in this case, if you look at it, right, if you have an SAP system installed, architecturally, how do things look like? You can connect to it from SAP GUI, you can connect to it from a browser, right? So both SAP GUI and a browser access is possible. In this case, it's a distributed install. The SAP components or the instances are installed on 1, 2, 3, 4 physical computers, right? On computer A, B, and C, you got various central and dialog instances installed. Each one has an instance number, and then the database instance is installed on the database server, which is called computer D. Okay. In our case, in RP2, the database as well as the central instance is installed on the same physical machine, right? It's installed on one physical machine is what's important to know there. And in fact, we can connect to that from a back-end perspective, right? This is where it is. This is a tool called PuTTY, through which I'm connecting to the same back-end system. Okay. You pay attention here, right? It's more important that you get this as opposed to downloading anything right now at this point, right? So this is the back-end system, right? And this is also on the cloud, right? I've connected it onto the EC2 Enterprise, Elastic Computing Generation 2 cloud environment from AWS. That's where I'm connected. If I do PS-EF grep aura, I see all these processes. This is Oracle running. right? These are all Oracle processes, right? If I do PS minus EF grep SAP, these are all the SAP processes running, right? DW, which is dispatcher plus work process from SAP for RP2. Right? This is all running in the background. This is looking at the system from the back end. And this is connecting to the same system from the front end. Right? In fact, if I do SM50 transaction, again, you're going to be learning, seeing some of these transactions. You see all of these process IDs. I can actually see them in the back end, right? So if I do go here, all of these process IDs are visible. If I do PS minus EF grep 9718, it's right here, 9718. This is the work process, which is shown here, right? And a screenshot exactly like this, without this highlight, is shown to you in a certification exam for you to correlate this between the back end and the front end. Okay. Again, if a lot of this is not getting across, that's okay, right? The whole idea today is to kind of tell you how and what we are going to teach, not for you to learn all of it, right, today itself. But to kind of tell you that it's going to be practical, it's going to be hands-on, it's going to be demonstration-oriented, it's not all going to be theoretical, you're actually going to see this happening in the same system. Okay. Coming back to the PDF file which we had, these are the different work processes an SAP system has. You have the message server, which coordinates all the dispatcher work processes. Each system has got only one message server. Each instance or each application server can have one and only one dispatcher, but one system can have multiple application servers and hence multiple dispatchers. Each instance can have a gateway process to communicate to the world outside. And if you connect from the browser, you come through Internet Communication Manager. And if you're wanting to connect to the ABAP stack, you go to the ABAP dispatcher. If you want to connect to the Java stack, you go to the Java dispatcher. Here is the example of an ABAP dispatcher. Underneath it, it has got various types of work processes. There's an acronym used to remember it called DWebMegs. DWebMGS, right? So D for dialogue, V for update, V is U in German, right? E for NQ, which is lock management, B for background or batch, M for message server, G for gateway, S for spool. Spool is for printing purposes. Gateway to connect to the world outside. Message server is for log-on load balancing. Dialogue is for interactive workload, like what we were just doing when we logged in. I did an SMO4 transaction and an SM50 transaction. That's all dialogue workload. Background is doing work in the background in a batch-oriented fashion. V is for updates, to update the database. E is for lock management, right? So that gives you a sense of the architecture, right? There is another diagram for the Java side, right? So this is a message server for Java, dispatcher for Java, and server processes for Java, right? And you can be running both the stacks concurrently, ABAP as well as Java in the SAP world, right? Because it's a split personality, right? It's got two application servers, ABAP and Java. Okay. Here is an example of just running an ABAP stack, right? Or just running a Java stack, or running a dual stack. This is a dual stack, ABAP plus Java, right? In this case, the database will have both ABAP and the Java schema. Coming back here, some transactions, right? Again, this is to kind of get your hands dirty, right? To kind of look at 12 SAP transactions, right? In the ABAP stack. SMO4 we looked at, right? We just did it to see who is logged on, right? So I did the SMO4 transaction right here, right? If I do SM04 /n SM04, I see who's logged in. So this is all of you guys currently logged in to whom I gave the user ID Shishya, right? And some of you are just doing what I am doing, which is SMO4, right? And okay, and this is me logged in. Okay. And then we got SM51. How many application servers? As I told you, you can have one system can have multiple application servers. You can figure out how many are there by doing a transaction SM51. There's only one, right? As I told you, it's a central system. Everything is running on the same box, right? So it's got only one application server, and that's the one. That's from SM51. SM37 is background jobs, right? So /n SM37, background jobs. What background jobs are running by anyone, any job name, which let's say canceled today, right? Did any jobs fail today? I can see that, right? These are all the jobs which canceled today. Then one has to figure out why did they cancel. But there are hundreds of jobs which ran in the system in the background, right? These are the ones which failed. I similarly can say, show me the ones which finished successfully. They will show in green color, right? If they have successfully finished. Right? These are all the ones which successfully finished. Okay. That's the SM37 transaction. SM50 tells you the work processes, right? And we already showed them to you. dweb megs, right? D is for dialog, V is for update, right? E is for NQ. NQ is not shown typically in this list. B is for batch. Message server is M. It's not shown in this list. G is also not shown in this list. It's for gateway. S is shown here for spool, right? So outside of NQ, message server, and gateway, all the other processes you see here. Okay, and you can see like how many dialogues are running. How many dialogues are there? 10, right? 0 to 9. And what they're doing at that point in time, you can see, right? If I refresh it each time, you'll see it continues to change depending upon what's going on, right? Okay. SM12 is used for lock management to see what is locked in SAP, right? SM12, I can see all locks held by any user in client 001. Currently no active lock, right? PFCG is used to maintain roles, security roles. SM13 for updates happening to the SAP system. SM21 is system log, right? So very important. SM21 is the log of the system. So I can say that show me all the log entries, right? So actually there are a few reds here. That means something we need to look at, right? Why are certain things actually failing, right? So when you do a system health check as an admin, you need to be looking at these things, right? Any red errors, right? SMO2 is a system message. I can generate a system message, SMO2, and if I generate a system message, you guys will actually see it. Right, so if I put a message here, anyone who's connected to the system, even if I do a back arrow or something, if I do a new transaction, I'll see this message, right? It's a system message. You guys would have seen it as well. RZ20 is for systems monitoring, right? Is built-in monitoring in the system. RZ20, I can look at SAP CCMS monitoring for, let's say, entire system, right? So entire system is red. That means at least one or more things are red underneath, right? So application server is red. One or more things are red underneath. One instance is red. One or more things are red underneath, right? So you can keep drilling down, and you can see why is the dialog work processes red, and mostly it is green. The logon load quality, right? It's saying that the load quality. Why? Because there's only one application server to load balance across, right? Again, it's a training system, so we have not invested in it. That's why it's saying that, you know, the logon load quality, it's only one application server, right? And hence the concern, right? If I look at this, I say open alerts, it's going to show me one alert, right? Is that the load quality is less than 50, right? It was 6 if you recall, right? And showing you all of these alerts. Response time, same nature, right? We want it to be under 3 seconds. It was 4.118 seconds, right? Not a big deal, right? If I add more app server, more processing power, I can get rid of that alert, right? But there are 162 of that generated, right? Some of them today, some of them on the 9th, 8th, right? If I were to take all of these, if I were to select all of this and say complete alerts, that means I'm okay with it, then go back, this is green, right? So next time it happens again, it will turn red. So these alerts you act on, right? But the good thing is you don't need to navigate through everything. You can see it here, right? What's making it red, what's making it green. Built in. Few questions. The first time you're installing an SAP system, you need to give it a week, because a lot of prerequisites, right, in a client location, you know, you should at least budget for a good 1 week for the first install. Subsequent installs, the time will continue to decrease. The time will continue to decrease because you would have understood that what are the prerequisites for that kind of a platform which the client is using, right? And you know, as the organization matures, then you can get down to a point where you can do it in a single day. We actually do it in a single day when we actually doing the install here in the class, but we still give you guys 1 week to install it. Okay. Can we see number of sockets per process? SAP does not have a transaction, which kind of lets you look at number of sockets per process, but one process at one time can only be doing, one dialog process at one time can only be doing one activity, right? However, it can entertain what's called multiplexing, multiple simultaneous connections, and the dispatcher load balances them across various dialog work processes. So if you look at one dialog work process, right, I just pick this one up and I say show me its underlying log, right? So this one I'm bringing up its underlying log file. Okay. Okay, so you see as these socket connections are being opened, right? So this is network interface in its socket, right? Right. So as you start the system, right, any network interface activities which are happening are being logged here, right? Again, we are running it in only information and error mode, right? I can turn the debug level and then you can start seeing everything, right? On what port the network interface connection is coming, all of those details are mentioned here. As you see, active trace level is 1, so it's not very high. If I continue to bump up the trace level, I'll see more details. This is for one of the work processes. Okay. What is the meaning of these status in SM50? Hold, waiting, right? So, yeah, so this is the status here. Waiting means it's waiting for a request to be dispatched to it. That means it's in an idle state. Running means it's actively doing some work. Hold means it is waiting for a response back. It has made a RFC, remote function call, and it's waiting for that response to come. And in this case, it looks like this is a backup which is running because this is RSDBA job. So it's a backup which is running. However, it looks like the backup is stuck for something. It's been running for too long, 37,000 seconds, right? So to me, it looks like it's in a hung status. That's why it's, it's not moving. It's in a hold pattern, and the RFC is not finishing. Something, as a system admin, you'll start looking at this. Okay, what job is this? Why is it still running? And again, we already know the SM37 transaction. So is there a job in a running status, i.e. currently active, running for close to 37,000 seconds? Guess what? Here it is, right? So DBA full online plus log backup. So I was right that it was a backup running, but it's in a hung status, right? I can look at the logs. This is the command which it gave, online full backup. Oh, actually it's it's with a verification, DB verify, right? So those things take a while. So it might actually be right. It started at 1 a.m. today, so it's still running, right? What we can do is we can say we can go to see, what we have also provided to you here is, and one of you might ask this question soon, knowledge base, right? And in that knowledge base, we have a handouts PDF. In there we provide with all of these transactions, right? Number of transactions, right? So we have given you a lot of these transactions which you can look at, right? Benefit from, right? So if you look at the ones, SMO2 is right here, right? IPFCG, right? Some of the ones which we looked at, right? And there's one here called DB13, right? Database calendar, right? And that's the one I wanted to go to, but I wanted to show you first, right? So this is the database calendar. All the database activities which are happening, including the job which ran at 1 a.m. is scheduled from here, right? So this is the one. Full online log backup. This is the one which is running. And what I want to do is I want to look at, so today is the 15th, Feb 15th. If we look at the previous week, right, so this is the one, right? What happened on the 8th is what I'm trying to see for the same job, right? This is the 8th. Started at 1 a.m., finished at 11:45, right? So it ran for roughly 21 hours, 45 minutes. So that's why it's still running, right? I can look at the job log of it, right? Okay, so it had an error in the end, but that's fine. But it ran that long before it finished, right? So in this case, we are okay, right? This guy is still in a running state. This is today's, right, job log, right? It is still running. So again, kind of showing you some of these transactions, just getting your, as we said, this section is what? This section is getting your hands dirty, right? So again, don't worry about it that it's getting dirty and I'm not learning. That's by design. Okay, moving on, frequently asked questions. Okay, so these questions I'm going to hold off now. Till we get to answering all the questions, right? So that we don't run over our allocated time. Frequently asked questions. How are the opportunities in SAP? Obviously, the most lucrative and sought after field in IT. Furthermore, basis is most lucrative, within SAP as a discipline, right? Most trainees are able to find employment assignments within a short duration of time. Again, it's not easy, but it's doable, right? If it were easy, everyone would be doing it, and then, demand and supply will kick in, right? Do you provide any certification? We provide you with a certificate of training, but again, we don't believe that that's the one which has got value. The value is SAP certification, for which we train you, right? And we would like you to clear that SAP certification, because that's where the value is, right? Let me also take the time right now to So if we look at
has joined the conference.
all right, so this is how we have set up our certification quiz. Right, so you see all these questions here. So if we can, view one of these, right? This is a, certification exam. You see these are multiple choice questions set up, right? This is a question. Following solutions are provided by SAP. So this one you should be able to answer, right? PLM we know is provided, CRM is provided, SCM is provided, right? Just from today's class itself, right? The other two are not, right? Right, so this is just giving an example of all the questions, and you will actually take this exam online itself. And previous batch has taken it, and in fact, we can see the reports of that, right? When this was delivered to the previous batch, right? Pretty bad result, right? This was the first time. This batch would be the second batch taking it, right? I want people here. There was only one person here, right? This is one. 2 people in this, and 17 people below this, right? And that's why we started giving this, right, so that people can get a good sense, right, of what's happening. And here are those people, right? So this guy, So the guy who was in the 80 to 90 percentage was this individual, right? Srinivas. Right, so I can actually look at what he did. Right, so he got this question right. Right, these are the answers. This is what he answered. So he got 1 point, right? So this he got incorrect. Only this and this is the answer. He did all three of them, right? And in SAP exams, more than one choice could be right. And you need to get all of them right to get the mark, right? So we have invested in putting this together so that it simulates the right experience for you. All right? So just giving you an example. So that's certification. Do you help with placement after the course is done? Yes. We do provide assistance in job placement after the training. We assist in resume preparation, mock interviews, marketing process. We're a consulting company. That's a core business, right? Do you provide remote access to the servers? Yes, we do provide remote access to our servers 7 days a week, 24 hours a day from anywhere on the globe. It's on the cloud, right? So we've made it accessible to anyone and everyone, right, who's participating in the class. How do you attend the SAP classes remotely? Live meeting. You're doing it today, right? So you're seeing how it progresses. That's the reason we have these kind of sessions, so that people get comfortable with it. How long after the training do I have access to the servers? Servers you have access to 3 months. After that you can pay and still have access. Typically we don't even charge for that. We just waive it, right? Our focus is that you learn, and that's where, we're going to feel proud. That's where we as a consulting company are going to grow, right? So we don't penalize you for that. Case study, what happens, as people take this coursework, right? So we kind of put a case study for a student, right? Her name is MD. She attended batch 29, so a little while ago in 2010. April to June 2010. She attended the KPSO, the Coach Placement Service offering, in Jan 2011. So she had a gap in the middle because she had some family situation. However, she still took the SAP certification exam in December 2010 itself, right? So she finished the course, she prepared for it, she took the certification, and within a month of it, she attended the KPSO program. We did the marketing from Feb to March 2011, and she joined Accenture April 18, 2011, right? So this is her story, right? So it's 1 year. But this, in the middle of that 6 months, she really, from June 2010 till December 2010, she didn't do much, right? Because, she's at the KPSO, maybe to a certain extent prepared for the certification, but she had some family stuff going on. In spite of that, she is able to make this impact. She attended all the sessions remotely, very focused, asked questions before start of each class, right, from the previous session. Very active in the class, completed all the homework on time, including the installation exercise. When she did get certified, she got 90%. This is her scorecard, right? I just wiped out her name, right, 90%. December 2010, right? She scored pretty good in all the different sessions or sections of the exam, right? Where she struggled was system starting and stopping, which I was very upset with her, and internet technologies for SAP, right? 66 and 66%. And system configuration, 50%, right? Even though these areas we covered a lot in the class, I don't know what happened, but still she had an overall score of 90%, right? So this is just to it's doable, right? People are doing it, so just set up as a case study for you that how she went about it, right? Now it's your turn to ask questions. We'll start with these 4. If there are more, you can keep putting them here. How many users can transact in a single dialog work process? How to learn the troubleshooting skills? At a time, only one person can be in a dialog work process, right? At a time. However, what happens is if you are sitting on a screen like this, right? You're not consuming a dialog work process. You have been essentially put in the memory, and the same dialog work process which helped paint the screen is helping somebody else right now. So this process is called multiplexing. So typically what they say is that if you have 100 concurrent users on a system, you should be able to work with 10 dialog work processes. That means 1:10 ratio between concurrent users and number of dialog work processes. How to learn troubleshooting skills, you will see as the course progresses, right? Obviously, first and foremost is understanding the fundamentals so that you can even try to troubleshoot. Second is getting into those kind of situations, where a system is not running and then, working on it and fixing it. And what we do is typically when we run into issues in a class, I don't shy away from it. I try to resolve them in the class so that you can see what am I doing. And since we do so much hands-on work, we will invariably run into issues, right? Like even today, right? Remember we were saying that, oh, why is that work process in hold? I could have just stopped there. That hold means it's waiting for something, but I didn't stop there. I then told you that it looks like it's an RSDBA job. It's probably doing a backup. And it was surprising to me that the backup is taking that long. Then we went in and we said, oh, it's doing a DB verify as well. And is it taking longer this week than previous week? I even showed that, right? So that's how inquisitive you've got to be. And the more inquisitive you are, and if you have that, knack of asking the question, why, how, you will get better and better, right? Some people don't do it, but as a basis admin, you really get paid for those troubleshooting skills, or you will differentiate yourself from others if you're good at troubleshooting. Finally, can we control which alerts get forwarded to syslog? You cannot control which alerts get forwarded to syslog, but you can control from syslog what do you want forwarded to CCMS or your mobile device, if you want to address those alerts in terms of, remediating it or fixing it. So waiting status is not a problem. No, so waiting is not a good. Waiting is good, that means system is idle. Yes.
Has left the conference.
Yes, so Somnath, you're right. In the PDF file, or in the presentation, what we have is older version of certification, which was 700, 731 is released. So obviously you want to take the latest certification exam. Yes, good point. Any other questions which I can try and answer? Ask now, please. Yes.
How well versed do you have to be with Oracle and other database systems to understand SAP?
A successful basis admin would be a pretty good DBA, would be a very good network admin, would be a very good OS admin. All of those, the confluence of that makes you priceless. But not everyone is like that, right? So if you're not good at DBA skills, there's still a lot of basis admins who are not good at DBA skills, but the people who are good at troubleshooting, like the example we had, DB verify, right? Why does DB verify take long? Then one needs to figure out, okay, what happens in a DB verify? It is looking at each block, Oracle data block, and it's verifying that, there is no block corruption. So what does that mean? Things of that nature. So, yes, your progression how valuable you are to the company, what's going to be your bill rate on an hourly basis if you're a consultant, all depends if you bring to the table the confluence of DB skills, OS skills, networking skills, in addition to the basic skills, right? So it's the same, as when you look at a mechanic, right? A lot of the mechanics can follow the norm and they can balance your tires or they can align your car, right? But if you have to tune a fuel injection system, it's a whole different skill set, right? How you bring that to bear is different. Any Oracle database can be installed in SAP or Oracle database? No, any Oracle database, right? But SAP provides its own installed media, and it does the installation of Oracle its own way. It provides you with a command line set of instructions, right? So that you don't need to pick and choose what needs to be installed, right? And you will see that in the install guide. Are you going to provide some details on SAP version? Yes, yes. It is confusing. Typically, software companies make it confusing on purpose. But yes, we will be discussing all of those. Can we mine logs from a CLI on the host? Yes, you can. People don't tend to do it. They tend to actually make all the automated monitoring tools in the market don't go and do a command line at the host level, right? Even though they could, because SAP does not guarantee that it's not going to change things. But what SAP guarantees is that if you use their APIs, to go against CCMS, Computer Center Management System, or against the SM21 transaction, it's always going to be backward compatible. So a lot of the monitoring tools, whether you have them from Tivoli, whether you have them from BMC, whether you have from HP OpenView, all of these, market leaders, right? They all use APIs which SAP has exposed for monitoring purposes, right? Both, right? You cannot learn both, so at the same time, start with one, right? Obviously, there are more SQL Server installs of SAP than Oracle, but in Fortune 500, there are more Oracle than SQL Server. No, you cannot call these T codes from Linux instead of GUI, right? Because these are not Linux commands, shell commands. These are transaction codes. They are running on the ABAP code base, right? So you can only call them from the GUI. I'll give you a couple of more minutes. Type your questions. I'll be back in a second. Just going to go to the restroom real quick. Okay, understood. These are ABAP commands, but any ways to call it inside a Unix command so we can script it? Yes, that you can do. And there's an exercise on this which we will do where you can call them from within SAP. And let me and it's called SAP EVT. So what you can do is you can raise an event to do something in SAP from the OS level, and also all of these transactions, most of them are exposed using BAPIs, business APIs and RFCs, right? So you can call them. You don't even need to be at the Unix level. You can actually call them. It's like a web service, right, from a browser itself, right? So it's exposed in a more user-friendly fashion, let alone at the OS level, right? So with proper, with proper security and all, you can call these functions, right? And now in the cloud world with the mobile devices, you can call them from RESTful APIs as well as a web service. How Windows is different with respect to SAP, right? Means when you are in the SAP GUI level, you will find no difference, right? So, when you are here, right, this screen will look the same whether you are whichever database, whichever OS you are looking at, right? Till you do something like ST06, which is a transaction which tells you, that you are running this on Linux, what is the version of Linux, so on and so forth, right? Till you do those kind of transactions, everything else will look similar, right? So unless it's a operating system transaction or a DB transaction, other transactions look the same, right? So this one is kind of telling you you're running on Linux. You can also do system status, which gives you similar details. I don't know why it's hanging on system status. There you go. Right, so it tells you Linux and Oracle database technologies, right, being used for this particular system of SAP, right? This one here, give me a second, somehow my numlock has turned on and I don't know how to turn it off. So this is another system I'm logging into. This happens to be running on Windows SQL Server, right? SU01 transaction, creating a user ID looks similar, right? You see no difference. It's running on a machine called Ganesh, right? But if I do system status here, you will see Windows, SQL Server. Right? So if you do ST06 transaction, as I told you, it's going to show you that it's running. It looks slightly different, right? Detailed analysis, it says Windows here, right? It's an older version of Windows, right? That's why it's saying NT. Okay, so that gives you an example. And similarly, if I went to any DB transaction like DB02, those transactions would look different, right? SQL Server oriented look and feel, right? So that's that. Two more questions. Okay, so this one we answered. I'm working a new in-source of SAP on P-Series, UDB it does. Does Khoj have knowledge base with extended that we can access? Not sure what that means, but yes, we do a lot of work with AIX. We have done a lot of work with DB2 as well. Not UDB as much, but DB2 on 390 on mainframes a lot. I don't understand the second part of your question, Scott, unfortunately. Right, any other questions? But AIX, we do a lot of work. A lot of our bigger clients are actually using AIX operating system, but with Oracle database. Okay, if no more questions, then we will call it a day. For people who are not registered, make sure you do register so that you will get your material in time, so that we can proceed forward. This session is going to be recorded. I'm going to stop the recording now, and Amol is going to be sending you all the details. What is the exercise for today? And I knew somebody was going to ask me that question, so here's your homework for today. Okay. So what you need to do is register on SDN, SAP's Developer Network. It's free, right? Keep help.sap.com handy, so kind of get used to it, right? Registration at SAP Service Marketplace, you can only do it if you are either an employee of an SAP customer, employee of an SAP partner, or SAP certified resource. If you are one of these three, you probably already are registered. If not, then just wait till you get certified, then you can register. Ensure SAP GUI connectivity to SD1. SD1 is not SD1, is RP2 now, right? So make sure that connectivity works. Make sure you have accepted the invite to the Yahoo group and are receiving the Yahoo emails. You will get the invite only once you have registered for the course. Put khoj-inc.com and yahoo.com in your whitelist so that you don't miss any of our emails. Make sure you review the recording of today's class. The recordings are going to be posted, right, on Monday. So make sure you review the recordings. Somebody had asked me what the directory structure looks like, and if we had a very good graphical representation of an SAP directory structure, so I just put it here. You guys can look at it. We'll cover it in more detail. That was the homework for today. Where can we access this PPT? You'll get the recordings, right? So you have got everything, not just the PPT, the audio, the video. Right, so you'll have the whole 9 yards. Amol, do we send the PPT as well? I'm not sure. You can answer it if we send it as well. For registered students, you'll get it anyhow in your DVD.
I can upload it to the Yahoo group, Ajay, so I think
All right.
registrars, they have access to it.
Excellent. So Chandan, that answers your question. Would you be able to share the login details of Putty? Yes. Later on, not today. Now, we are done for today. Again, today's session is not part of the eight sessions we're going to have. Today is just an orientation session, right? So don't worry about the 4 hours, whether it took 2, 3, or 4 hours, does not matter. We covered what we wanted to cover. Hopefully you are oriented to, what the future is going to entail. We'll have a normal 8 sessions still. Yes, the classes in the future will be on Saturdays. Today was an exception. All right, if no more questions, then we'll conclude. Be in touch with Amol. Make sure you complete your registration process. If there are any questions for me, you can still email them to me, right? You can still email them to training@khoj.com or to Amol. They will eventually reach me. Okay, good luck, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now. There is one more question which came in. Oh, just thank you notes. Thanks, guys.